Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. This couple is living together after the recent loss of their son. However, after this young boy started working in this house, things could not go on as they had before. This old woman, who was saddened by her son's death, fell in love with a young worker of her husband. The movie begins at a beach house on an island. Here we meet a talented writer named Ted. Ted lives here with his wife, Marion, and their daughter, Ruth. The wall of their house is covered with pictures of their sons, Tom and Tim. Several years back, both of his sons passed away in a car accident. Marion found it hard to cope with this upsetting event. Since then, she has been living in sadness. On the other side, Ted is busy with his job. Alice takes care of Ruth. Ruth finds out about her brother's accident. Ruth often looks at the pictures of her brothers who have died. One day, Ted gets a helper of himself. The assistant can help with small tasks and also drive for him. Ted lost his driving license 3 months ago. His name is Eddie. Ted talks to Marion about Eddie. Then these two have a conversation for a while. We understand this by paying attention to their words. Since his son passed away, their relationship has become more distant. Marion is shocked, so she doesn't say much. Ted suggests to Marion that they should take a break from each other for a while, considering how their relationship is going. Marion agrees and decides to stay at a hotel in the city. That night, Ruth had a scary dream. Ruth speaks with Ted and shares her dream with him. Ted tells him a story to help him fall asleep. Ted starts writing a book about Ruth's dream. The following morning, Marion goes to pick up Eddie. Today, Eddie was going to begin his job as an assistant. Then Eddie comes over and sees that his wife has come to pick him up instead of Ted. When Eddie sees Marion, she thinks he is very good looking. He really likes her a lot as well. Marion takes Eddie to Ted's house. After a while, she heads to her hotel. Then Ted meets Eddie. Ted talks about his job. Ted says this to him too. You will need to stay in this house from now on. Eddie really likes Ted very much. Eddie wants to become a good writer, just like Ted. Eddie is really happy to be here. Ted shows him around the whole house. While he talks, he mentions that his marriage is getting worse. That is how Marion and he are living apart. Eddie then meets Alice, who is Ruth's babysitter. She was a beautiful young woman. He paints, and he also creates Ted books. He often paints girls who are not wearing clothes. Ted also recruits Evelyn, who is female, to be his model. Marion arrives here the following day. Eddie goes to the theater with him too. It meets Eddie Marion. He says he came here for supper because he doesn't bring food from Ted's home. Marion tells him this after she hears it. One day I would like to take you out for dinner. That night, Eddie comes back home. He starts to pleasure himself after seeing Marion's photo. Then Ted and Ruth show up as well. Eddie just manages to escape. Marion will come here the next day. After this, he goes home. He finds Marion's underwear and then starts to pleasure himself. Then Marion comes home and sees Eddie doing it. Marion says sorry to Eddie and mentions that he should have come by sooner. Eddie felt really embarrassed about being caught like this. Marion tells him she isn't mad at him. She explains that everyone does this at his age. Eddie tells Marion that he has been thinking about her ever since he first saw her. When Marion hears this, she remains silent and does not say anything. The next day, when Eddie takes Ted to Evelyn's house, he notices that Marion has forgotten her underwear. That evening, Marion has dinner with Eddie and they talk a lot. Marion asks Eddie, "Why don't you take Alice out on a date?" Eddie says that Alice doesn't feel that way about him. After a long conversation, they both went home. The next day, Marion goes to Eddie's room and shares the story behind all the pictures on the walls. Marion flirts with Eddie and then they become close to each other. The next day, Ted goes to a place with Eddie. Ted reads a book to 10 people. Eddie learns from Ted's story that Ted writes all his books based on his own life. Ted thanks Eddie on his way home. Ever since Eddie arrived, Marion has been happy again after a long time. A few days later, one night, Ruth goes to Marion's room and sees Eddie and Marion sitting close together. When Ruth sees this, she starts to cry. Then Marion helps her feel better. Ted discovers the affair. The next day, he speaks to Eddie about it while they are in the car. Ted tells him that he wants you to testify against Marion and talk about your offer to get Ruth's custody if Marion and he get a divorce. Eddie asked Marion why he is still with Ted after everything that has happened. Marion says that Ted is a wonderful parent and looks after Ruth very well. He also mentions that he dislikes Ted's painting hobby, which initially included making nude photos of Marion. Some days go by like this. One night, Eddie asked Marion how their kids got hurt. After hearing this, Marion thinks about her deceased sons once more, and then she remains silent. That night, while Eddie was showing pictures to Ruth, she asked if she could take one to her room. Marion agreed, but then Ruth accidentally dropped the picture and the broken glass cut her finger. Eddie and Marion bring him to the doctor. Ted gets really mad at Eddie when he finds out. The next day, Marion is near Eddie when she suddenly begins to cry. She then tells him that she plans to leave everything soon and go away. Ted asks Eddie to go to Evelyn's house and bring back all her paintings that day. Ted keeps thinking about Evelyn now. Evelyn gets very angry and tells Eddie that Ted has to come see him on Friday. At this moment, Evelyn accidentally closes the door to her house. Eddie breaks a window of his house and goes inside, home. In the evening, Marion tells Eddie that on Friday, they will take Ted to Evelyn's house. However, they won't bring him back. This will help Ted come home alone in the evening. When the time comes, I will collect all the pictures of my sons and leave this place for good. The next day, when Eddie took Ted to Evelyn's house, she was really angry. He tore up all the paintings that Ted sent him. Eddie dropped Ted off at Evelyn's house. Then he went back home. Marion sends Ruth to the doctor with Eddie. This is because if Ruth stays here, she can't leave. Eddie goes to the photo shop after getting Ruth's stitch taken out, or he was asked to fix the broken picture. When they arrived, Eddie asked him for the picture today. She knew that when Ruth got home, she would be upset about not seeing her mother in the picture. When Eddie asked for the picture, the manager refuses to give it to him. Eddie writes to them and explains everything clearly. He talks to them about his relationship with Marion. After hearing everything, the manager shares a picture too. Meanwhile, after some time, Ruth and Eddie get here. Ted was very angry with Eddie. Eddie tells Ted that Marion is gone forever. Marion asked him to say that all the photos of Marion's sons have been taken too. Ted doesn't have any pictures of his son. Ted felt very sad about everything. He talked to Eddie about it in the evening. Their kids got into an accident that way. That night, these people went out to have fun. Marion, Ted, and his two sons were drunk from drinking. At that moment, the other son was driving who didn't have much experience driving. The car's headlight and rear light were covered in snow. It looked like Ted had forgotten to clean them. He didn't see the car, and a truck hit it on the highway, which resulted in the both of his boys. She had Ruth to try to ease her pain, but nothing got better. Eddie feels terrible after hearing this story, but he didn't understand it. How can a mother leave her daughter behind? The next day, Evelyn's servant goes to see Ted and tells him the news since Evelyn has fired her from her job. Ted hears this and decides to hire him as a driver. He also makes his wife the and Ruth's babysitter. Eddie says goodbye to Ted and then goes home. Evelyn's servant and his wife have started to assist Ruth a great deal. This movie ends here. My family, don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. Thanks.